So I talk a lot about fantasy movies and TV shows here, but there is a specific subgenre that I haven't touched on just yet: the fantasy romance. Basically, regular chick flicks with a fantasy gimmick in their premise. Today I want to talk about two of those movies: The Lake House and The Adjustment Bureau. But before I get to that, a message from me. So a few years ago, I did a thing. I wrote a novel titled The Fairy Princess Enter into Fin Time. You can see the fairy princess here on my t-shirt. The book is about a young girl from the south side of Chicago who discovers she's a fairy princess. Her godmother is kidnapped and she must learn how to use her powers while trying to save her. The book is available on Amazon and Rakuten Kobo. T-shirts and other merch are available on my website, thefairyprincess.net. Links are in the description. First up is the 2006 Sandra Bullock, Keanu Reeves feature, The Lake House. It's set in Chicago, but that's not the reason I love it. It's basically about two people living 2 years apart, but they're connected through this one lake house. Keanu is in 2004 and Sandra is in 2006. They communicate through letters that they leave in the lake house's mailbox. As they continue to write each other, they fall in love. Even though they were in two different time periods, they were still able to meet face to face during the movie. It's just that Keanu was aware of who Sandra was, but he was a stranger to her. Despite this fact, they still had major chemistry, much to Sandra's at the time boyfriend's dismay. But there was also cute little ways that he was able to do things for her outside of writing letters. One time she mentioned that she missed the trees at the lake house while at her current apartment in the city. So Keanu went to the construction site of her apartment building and planted a tree. And it appeared out of nowhere as she was entering her building. Then he left her a map with a route marked out on it so they could take a walk together. At one point, she comes across the building that he graffitied a message to her on the side. But the course of true love never did run smooth. And soon, the 2 years that separated them became an obstacle that they needed to overcome. They break up, and she goes back to her old boyfriend, and Keanu, heartbroken, starts an architecture company with his brother. I won't say what the twist is, but the part of the movie that moved me the most was the fact that Keanu essentially waited 4 years just to be with her.
You waited.
They talk about my favorite Jane Austen novel in the movie, Persuasion. Of course, when they described the book in the movie, they were completely off.
These two people, they meet, they almost fall in love, but the timing isn't right. They have to part.
But the thing this movie has in common with Persuasion is a person carrying a torch for someone for years before the other person has an epiphany and realize that they need to be together. Next is The Adjustment Bureau, the Matt Damon, Emily Blunt feature from 2011. Now in this movie, there is a secret organization that controls the fate of human beings. You know how in Sliding Doors, just missing or catching a train changed the whole course of Gwyneth Paltrow's life? In The Adjustment Bureau, this organization deploys men in dapper hats that make sure you either miss or make that train. So in the movie, Matt Damon was fated to meet Emily Blunt once so that she could inspire him to make a speech that will help him win his election. After this one time, they were never supposed to meet again, but Matt couldn't get Emily off his mind. Then one day, Anthony Mackie, the man in the dapper hat who was supposed to keep Matt from making his usual bus, falls asleep. So Matt catches the bus and Emily is on it. This causes an entire brouhaha in the Adjustment Bureau. Now their main focus is to break up Matt and Emily, but Matt is stubborn and fights to hold on to her. So they are forced to come out of the shadows and reveal themselves to Matt and tell him that he was supposed to meet Emily once and never see her again, that he should walk away and leave her alone or something horrible will happen to her. Being a human with free will, Matt does not listen to them and continue to see Emily anyway. She is a ballet dancer and ends up hurting her leg. Matt realizes that the Adjustment Bureau means business and he doesn't want to be the one to come between her and her passion, so he ghosts her. Now all this time, Anthony Mackie, though he works for the Adjustment Bureau, feels a certain way about them deciding who gets to be together. But they keep repeating to him that it's all a part of the plan.
Why do you want to keep us apart? Because the plan says so.
They must stick to the plan. Eventually, his conscience gets to him, and Anthony gets in contact with Matt and offers his help with him getting back with Emily. He gives Matt his dapper hat and tells him that putting the hat on and opening a door will open a sort of portal to another location. So Matt can use the hat to run from the men from the Adjustment Bureau. Thus begins a huge chase scene where Matt and Emily constantly go through one door and ends up in another location. But the men in dapper hats are always on their trail, till finally they are surrounded. They decide to hold on to each other for as long as they could until they're forcefully separated. But then a higher up at the Adjustment Bureau steps in and allows them to leave. I forget how it affected the plan, whether the plan changed or if them being together was a part of the plan that only certain people with a certain clearance gets to see. But in the end, free will won out over fate. So, 2 fantasy romances. The magic in each movie there to help or hurt the star-crossed lovers. Sometimes both. In The Lake House, it's all about time. Time separated the lovers, and to defeat that obstacle, they just had to wait. In the Adjustment Bureau, the lovers were literally fighting fate. To overcome that obstacle, they had to choose to love each other anyway. Do you like the fantasy romance genre? If so, what are some of your favorite movies in it? Let me know in the comments down below. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and hit the notification bell to know the next time I upload or go live. Thanks.